Hey guys, how are you? Happy 2020! I know, it's been like a bit and it's almost actually the end of the month, but it is my first video of the year, so I wanted to say Happy New Year. I hope your 2020 has been everything you've wanted it to be so far, and I really hope you're getting all the stitching you've been wanting to get done in January and continue to do so for the rest of the year. So, as you can tell by the title, this is a good old-fashioned WiP parade. But before I continue, hello, my name is Carolina. I am a cross-stitcher, so this channel is mainly about cross-stitching. If you are new, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. Thanks for stopping in with me and chatting about my stitching. So, I was actually originally not going to do one of these. I was like, it's too much work, I got too much stuff, I'm going to put it all out, I got to organize it. All the reasons. I was going to pull out just like the 20 or so WIPs I was going to work on this year and leave it at that. But as I was organizing myself, I realized it would be a good idea because one, it has been a hot minute since I've done one of these. My last one was 2 years ago. And I'm trying to get down to about 10 WIPs. Really, it's about 20 because I kind of have like my 10 like active WIPs and then 7 that are long term. At least right now I'm willing to have up to 10, so that's why I say 20, but really I'm only about 10 active WIPs. I'm nowhere near 10 active WIPs, not yet anyway. So what do I mean by long term? I mean like large full coverages that are kind of long term. I know they're not a priority. Travel piece, camping piece, which is basically a travel piece, but during camping, which I'm actually going to merge those two because, well, I haven't been camping that much lately, but two, it seems silly to have 2 of them, especially because my camping piece actually didn't get that much love when I was camping. I think I worked on it one time. I had some gift stitching and I was crocheting a scarf at the time, so I think it's just not worth it. I'll just have like a travel piece and that will be the camping piece. And then last one is this sort of sal I created for myself. So it's this Mill Hill series. You'll see it when it comes up. But I basically want to stitch all the sections in it, or all the releases within that series, but it's not actually a sal. So it's just something I created for myself. So I went through everything. I organized it chronologically, which really wasn't that bad, by the way. I had most of it written down either myself. I wrote it down when I was like keeping track of everything, and the others was basically the same thing, but like through Instagram and Facebook posts. So it was like all there. So it was pretty easy to find. About 99% of these dates are accurate. Maybe 3 projects, maybe 4. I might be a day or so off because I didn't post exactly on the day I started, but for my purposes, I am quite happy with the dates. So, I did have some stats since I organized them chronologically. I figured, why not figure out what I got going on? And I made myself a list. So, this is like the start of 2020. So I got right here up to here, and I'm probably just gonna highlight or put a line through as I finish these. Basically everything on here is currently a WIP. I went through, I took everything out that I just wasn't interested in stitching anymore. There are some things I want to restart. Those are not, everything here is like started. I'm gonna keep going on it. I want to see it through. So I have 47 total WIPs, nowhere near 10. 7 are technically long-term, so 40 WIPs, right? Still nowhere near 10. 2 of them come from 2015, 15 from 2016, 9 are from 2017, 5 are from 2018, 13 are from 2019, and 4 are from here in 2020. As you may notice, yes, there's some 2020 starts. The ones that are actually here are started for a reason. They're either part of my long-term project, or I put 4 in 2020, and why am I only seeing 3? Oh, because one technically has 2 parts. I'll show you that. I don't even remember, but yeah, so technically 3 starts, but one is 2 parts, and they're pretty big, so I'm counting them as 2 projects, so that's why I put 4. But they're all either gifts or one of my long-term things. So yeah, so I'm being realistic about it. I know I'm gonna have starts. I have 3 more planned starts for this year, which brings me up to 6, technically 7 if you count that 2-parter. I don't know if I'll have any more. Like I said, I have 3 planned starts. I'm not planning on starting a lot. I'm hoping on stitching a lot. Part of the problem last year is that I started exactly as much as I finished. So I said I had 13 from 2019. Actually, did I finish? Yeah, so I finished 13 things. I'm almost sure. It might have been 14, but like I pretty much finished and started, so my WiP number didn't really change. So that's what I want to kind of stay away from this year. I did also decide to participate in WiP Go. That is being hosted by Jessie Marie. So I figured to kind of combine. At first I was going to make 2 videos, but because my time is so limited, I have a young child and there's just it's a lot going on. It's hard for me to make longer videos now. I really want to get to like maybe posting updates more, but they'll be shorter, but that works for me because I might not have like 3 hours of my life, you know, to dedicate to this that are just like, you know, together. So anyway, let's get started because I'm sure you are here to see the stitching, right? So like I said, as the projects that are on my WiP Go board comes up, I will talk about those. And if you're not sure what WiP Go is, it's basically like a bingo card. You fill it 25 slots. 1 is a free space unless you choose to stick a project in there, and 24 projects or parts of projects. Like I have some partial pages, and you can also break up your projects. Like some people don't have 24 projects, or even though it's technically WiP Go, if they know they're never even breaking a project, it's just not going to happen. Some people put starts in or other crafts in, but the idea is for it to be centered on cross stitch. Jessie calls out 2 blocks a month. By the end of the year, that's 24 blocks plus the free space. She's not going to call any, you know, again. So all your projects should be called by the end of the year. All right, that was a little quick, but I just don't want this whole intro to be super, super long. So let's get to the projects. Okay, so my very first project was started on June 20th, 2015, and this is the camping project. So this is technically a long-term project, but it is by Musilla. It's a very simple kit. It was under $5, and I just have the tiniest bit. I took it on one camping trip, and like that's when it got the love, and I haven't stitched on it since. So this is all I got, you guys. As you can see, it's just a little bit of the middle where his little tail starts. So like right here, that's where I'm at. I'm actually thinking of doing this, like just putting it into my rotation at some point and just getting it done. It's a little bit larger, even though it's small. Like you can see, this is like maybe a 5x7 piece of fabric, maybe a little bit bigger. For traveling, I'd really like something that I can just hold in hand, which I can hold Ada in hand, and I've done it a lot, but I wouldn't mind, I prefer having something that's just like a little ornament size, something that's like either a perforated paper or a perforated plastic, and it's just like there's no folding, because sometimes if I don't have a hoop, I just like fold it up a little bit and hold it in hand, which is fine. But I just want something that doesn't need any sort of hoop or frame to make it really a lot more portable. This is also, as you can see, a little bit big. I can put this in a smaller bag though, don't get me wrong. But something that I can like stick in a purse is preferable, so that's why I kind of want to deviate from something like this. So maybe as I'm getting some things done, I may just kind of put this off to this, pick this up instead of leaving it off to the side, and just kind of get it done so I can have my travel WiP be something else, be something a little bit more portable, a little bit easy to work with, especially like if I'm not in a place where I can really take up as much space as like even something like that would require, where something that's really handheld is just a lot simpler. So that's that one. Hopefully I can finish that out sometime this year, and one, my oldest WiP would be done, and two, I could really kind of just get that kind of out of the way and have just the one travel WiP instead of a camping trip and a travel WiP. So that's that. Next and final WiP from 2015 is Minnie Unleash the Butterflies by Cindy Nielsen, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. This is what she looks like. She is available as a full size and a mini. And I am currently on the very top row. There are 4 pages in the row. This is where the 3rd page ends, and the 4th page is a partial page, about half. So my goal is to get the top 2 rows done by the end of this year and the whole project done by mid 2021. So around May of 2021, because I'd like to put this in my LNS's craft show they hold every summer. And I think that's a good goal for me to get it done. It's also crazy, I've never really finished a Heaven and Earth design. I haven't gotten around to it because I just have been starting all the things, including other Heaven and Earth. So I want to, since I have that kind of long-term category, I think what I want to do is put at least one in like my regular WiP collection, WiP rotation, and try and make it a focus to hopefully finish. I don't think I'll ever stitch a super big one, except, well, I said that and then I found one that is a piece that's actually really special to my hubby and I, so that's why I chose to get that. But for the most part, I don't think I'd want to stitch a large Heaven and Earth, just because I know how long they take and there's so much I want to stitch. Maybe when I get down to that 10 number, and I finish some of the charts I already have, I might consider it, and just kind of leave that. I have the one, and eventually whenever I start it, that will definitely be in my long-term WIPs for a long time. But it is something that I just don't see myself doing as beautiful as they are. I think they just take too long, and there's so many other things I want to stitch. And that was started, I forgot to say the date, December 15, 2015. So I actually, when I started planning this video, had 3 projects in the 2015 category, and I have finished 1 since then. And I just decided to, you know, I'm going to show it whenever I do my update. But so when I started this planning for this, I had 49 WIPs. I finished another little ornament. But I just hadn't gone around to filming because, like I said, I need a big chunk of time when I'm, you know, just available. And then I got a little bit sick and I wasn't going to do that to you guys. I tried, but I was just coughing like every 3 words. It didn't work. Anyway, moving on. Alright, now moving on into 2016, and my next project I started on January 1st, 2016. I actually had the most projects from this year because this was the year that I was starting all the things and doing all the sales, and yeah, I finished quite a bit of stuff, but I also have a lot that's still done. What is that back there? Oh, it's one of my other cards. I didn't realize the angle of the camera. Anyway, this is, you can't really see that. This is Quiet Fire. It is a Busilla heirloom kit that is no longer available, unfortunately, but it is a WIP, so I wanted to show it. So Busilla heirloom is basically like the Dimensions gold type, so they're more detailed, and they have a lot of stitches, like different types of, like half stitches and quarter stitches and 3/4 stitches and some back stitching and a lot of thread, and it makes it really beautiful. The only thing is that Busilla as a whole has not figured out their kits. They give you a card to sort your threads. Here, I'll show you what one looks like. And this is actually really long. It's like triple this size, and I cut them because it was just too unmanageable. And it has their floss numbers and then a picture. The problem is the picture's not really very accurate a lot of the times, and a DMC color card doesn't entirely help. I actually bought the DMC color card because I knew I had another one of these kits, and after I suffered through sorting these, I was like, And even with the card, it was super hard. They just give you this giant wad of floss in 2-yard lengths, but then the pattern only says the number of yards per color, not the number of lengths. So it could say, you know, 2 yards, but that's 1 length. So I was very confused at first. I was a newbie kind of still, so I didn't really understand how it was really rough. I had some more Busilla heirloom kits and I destashed those. I kept these 2 because they're gifts. So I don't have a lot going on. I have just a little bit of the top of the foliage there, and that's because this just wasn't a priority, and I hadn't taken it out. And it is on a 28 count even weave. I forgot I haven't mentioned fabric. So the first one you could tell was on an 8. I was 14 count. The last one, as most of my Heaven and Earth designs are, is on a pre-gridded 25 count Lugana. And this one's a 28 count mushroom even weave. It didn't say what type of even weave. It came with the kit. It just said even weave. So yeah, so there is only one Busilla heirloom kit that I would go through this madness of sorting these colors for. Like, I was literally sitting with like 5 greens that were very close, and the DMC card wasn't helping, and the Busilla to DMC conversion list online wasn't helping, and I was just like, I think this is it. I'm like maybe sure about like 98% of the colors, and the other ones I'm not sure. And this one I don't think it would matter as much, but the other one is like people, so I might just have to like refer to the picture to make sure the color doesn't look really off. And that happened to me with that one. It was the skin colors, which I guess that's, or you know, it's got the peachy colors, but man, it was hard. So yeah, if I can ever find Bucilla planetarius, which is a wizard that is like walking with his hands up and there's like planets everywhere, I love that. I haven't never found it. If you own it and are willing to part with it, let me know. That's the only one I would go through that nonsense for. Other than that, like, I'll just find a similar picture because that was madness. So Victorian Charm, this is by Dimensions. It is readily available and it's like under 20 bucks. Super good deal. I started this on the 6th of January 2016, and this is what that looks like. It is beautiful. In fact, I started this for a sale for this piece specifically. This was one I actually never touched after the sale, so it's been sitting since 2016. What, 4 years old now? I haven't touched it. All I have is a little bit of the top of the roof. Whoa, the light there. Yeah, I'm not going to be touching this year because I have other plans for other projects. But I definitely will pick it up again next year, and I want to get a lot more stitches in it. I don't know if I'll finish it next year, but it's one that, you know, I'm going to be working on and hopefully get quite a bit of progress on next year. I just have things already planned out for this year, and it didn't quite make the cut just because there's a lot going on. All right. Next one I have to share with you, I started on the 7th of January 2016. I believe this was for like a starting event similar to Mania, but it was like a beginning of the year one. And I believe it was 7 days long, so it might have been up to the 7th, and the others I just started because I knew I wanted to start them. So this is a Gold Dimensions Petite kit, and it's really quite nice. It's not super complicated. I just think they're a little bit more detailed than the regular Dimensions smaller kits. It's called Butterfly Vignette. I think this is still available. I didn't check on this one, but it should be. I just have a little bit of the sky done. I actually started it and then I worked on it maybe 1 or 2 more times that year. I haven't taken out since. The whole thing, by the way, is this big. As you can see on a lot of these, they are gridded. I used to grid religiously. I really don't grid anymore. I think the only time I would grid is if I had a Heaven and Earth or Tilt and Crafts or Mystic Stitch, one of those really big full coverages that I wasn't doing pre-gridded fabric for. I probably would choose pre-gridded fabric every time now if it's a new start, but if for whatever reason it wasn't, I would grid. So yeah, I just like, it is very valuable, but once you get into a habit, you don't necessarily need it. Or if it was just a really complex piece where I'm like, I really need to grid this, then, you know, I'd go ahead and do it. Anyway, the next one I have to share with you, this project has been like the bane of my existence. It's a very special project for a very special person, but it just was a lot more work than I thought. I bought this obviously at the very beginning of 2016. I'd been stitching for less than a year at this point, and I saw this and I'm like, oh, look at all that half-stitched background. It'll go super fast, and I really like the design. This is a Christmas stocking from the Dimensions Gold collection. This is a gift for my mom. Long story, but the gist of it is my husband's family has a big tradition with stockings. The eldest aunt handmade one for everybody in the family, and as people became part of the family by marrying or having a child, they would get a stocking. Married couples got matching stockings. At first it was the felt applique, then it was cross stitch. My husband and I got mine, and my parents were still getting like a guest stocking, which is just like a store-bought, and I'm like, no, I want them to have a stocking. I'm gonna stitch them one. Thank goodness my mother-in-law, who cross-stitched in the past, said, oh, I'll help you out, I'll stitch one of them. Because this has been so much work. To be fair, I didn't stitch on it much in 2016. I was starting all the things, I was a new stitcher, I was like going, all the stitching, all the patterns kind of thing. But in 2017, I really buckled down and got a lot done. Then in 2018, I worked on it some, but I didn't quite get to it. My mother-in-law didn't finish hers either. So at that year, we showed them like, hey, this is where we're at, guys. This, we wanted to surprise you, and if you feel really bad they're not done, but I couldn't. And I had my daughter that year and I really wanted her to have a stocking. So like my mom was totally cool with it because she wanted her to have a stocking. But 2019, I really didn't have any excuse. I planned on stitching it for the second half of the year. I was like, all right, end of July till right up till Christmas if I need to, I will stitch on this. I didn't stitch on anything. I was just like, I got super overwhelmed with work. I switched positions and it was just a lot more to do. If all plans fail and go out the window, if for some reason I can't stitch on anything but one thing, which would make me very sad, but this would be the project. So the problem with this, it's not that it's a gold and there's a lot of details. It's not that there's blends. It's the freaking tree. It's a tree. It's a close-up of a tree. So like the green, it's like 12 stitches here and then switch colors and 5 stitches there. Oh, and then you can't forget the 4 brown stitches for the branches, and I did not think about that. When I bought the stocking, I just saw elegance, which I thought my mom would really like, and I saw it has a bird, which I know my dad would really like, and I wanted a stocking that would somehow would be fun for them. Oh, I didn't even mention the WiP Go. Okay, this is definitely in my WiP Go. Definitely my goal is to finish because like I need to finish. The other one that I've shown so far that is in WiP Go, this one, I want to get the first 2 rows done. I mentioned that. That is actually on my WiP Go as 6 different blocks. Each page is on there as a block. This is on there as a finish, and by golly, I will finish it. And the third project that, from what I've shown so far, that's on my WiP Go is the Quiet Fire. I know it's in that one. My original goal was to finish it, but as you saw, I have like maybe 60 stitches on there. And after I looked at the projects that I chose, I realized that's not really very realistic. So I'm like, if I finish it, great. But if I don't, my plan is half. I'm going to reassess in June. And if it's just like nowhere near the half, I'll maybe say like a third or a fourth, depending on where I am. Because I want the goal to be attainable. I mean, the whole point of WiP Go is not to make it really easy. Like, I'm not going to say 100 stitches. Like, that's doable. Like, I'm not challenging anybody with that. Well, I guess I can't say anybody. Most people wouldn't be challenged by something like that. It's got to be challenging. And I think a third to a fourth is still challenging if I had to reassess that. But right now my goal is half on the Quiet Fire. So we'll see if it happens. I don't know. But yeah, so moving on to the next one. All right, so my next project, and I don't know if I said the date for that one was, stocking I just told you was January 12th, 2016. The next one is technically a restart. I had originally started this right when I started stitching in 2015 for my husband. I was like, oh, I want to stitch him something. His birthday's coming up. A week before, I go searching on Etsy and I found a really cool Yoda pattern. Unfortunately, I don't have the pattern information. I don't think the seller's even on Etsy anymore, and I realized I never printed a picture of the cover sheet, so I will insert a picture of what he's supposed to look like here. And I'll show you where I am. When I first started this, I miscounted with the fabric, or I think I had a leftover piece of fabric and I thought I could make it work, but it was going to be too much. Like it was just too close. It was right at the edge, and I had no idea what I was doing, and I realized I had X's going in different directions. So when I picked that back up, I was like, I can't. There is no way. Also, I was like a newbie, and you can totally tell. I originally started, like I said, when I first started in 2015. I'd been stitching for like 2 weeks. I didn't look at the size, I didn't look at the stitch count, I didn't look at the fact that it was a full coverage, I didn't look at the fact that there were like 75 colors in this. I think it's either 72 or 75. I was like, yeah, as long as I get, stitch on this as soon as I get home from work and don't work on anything else, I'll be fine. And you all know how I realized pretty quickly that wasn't going to happen. So anyway, when I picked it back up and I realized the X's were going in all directions, I was like, not going to happen. I'm restarting it. And so I did. I restarted it on the 3rd of March of 2016, and this is where I'm at. He's going to be about that big, so, well, maybe a little bit longer, a little bit less than, almost a square pattern, but not quite. And yeah, I would like to finish him this year. You can see the lightsaber there and his little ear. but I don't know if I'm going to. If not, his birthday's at the end of February, like I mentioned, and I would work on it for then. So either a Christmas gift or till the end of February. We'll see if it happens. I don't know, but he is on my WiP Go board. My goal is to finish him, so we'll see if I get to it. If I don't, like I said, hopefully I can finish by the by his birthday next year. So I have about 11 months if I do it this year, 13 months for next year, so we'll see. But yeah, so that's Yoda. I don't even know if that was the name of the pattern. Like, it could have been Yoda with lightsaber. I don't know. Unfortunately, she's gone as far as I can tell. And I don't, like, you know, I don't really have that much information because I didn't think of, like, saving stuff back then. Like, I literally had started stitching 3 weeks before I bought this pattern. So unfortunately, I don't have a lot of info. My next one, so we can move on, is Mini Sunrise. This is a Heaven and Earth. I started her on April 5th, 2016. And I do have her on this gray 25 count Lugana. It's looking a little small, and it's probably fine because I'm pretty sure I measured this out. But when I pull that piece back out, I'm really going to have to look at the stitch count. I think I have it on here actually, but I'm not going to do it now because that's like not realistic to do. But just make sure this piece is actually big enough, even though I'm considering possibly restarting it on a white piece of fabric. I don't know why I chose this gray one. The color, so this is how much I've got. This is the first page and it's part of the Sunrise. Did I show? I don't have a picture of this, so I'm going to insert what she's going to look like here. Okay, so this is part of like the Sunrise. It's called Mini Sunrise, and it's a purpley gray color, which you can't really see on the fabric, but once I add all the colors in, you would see fine. It's really not that much stitching considering how large the piece is. So one, I'm gonna make sure this fabric is big enough, and two, I may actually consider restarting this on a white, and that way, one, I can buy pre-kitted fabric, and two, I don't know. I'm a little nervous about, like I said, the color, the size, and then the color maybe not coming through. I think it would, but like that would really suck to stitch more and then realize this is not going to work. I had actually originally bought another piece of this because there is a sunset. Right now there is no mini available, but I want to request it. My plan was to finish them around the same time, so I think what I'm going to do, and I don't have any plans of taking her out this year, and she is in a long-term house, so technically I don't know if, I'm not going to take her off the WiP list, because when I do pick it back up, even if I decide to keep it, I keep it, but even if I decide to restart it, it would be immediate. I wouldn't be like putting it off to restart later. So I really think I'm going to do that, you guys. I think I'm going to just start again, eventually try and pick that out, maybe. It's a lot to pick out of 25 count, but I guess it depends what I decide to use the fabric for. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go for a white, just to be on the safe side. And my goal is, when I finish the first page of this one, request the mini, or when I'm getting close to the page finish, because I know the process takes a little bit, request the mini. When it's available for purchase, purchase it, start, and do one page at a time. So that's like a whole nother idea and a project for next year, but that's my plan for now. Yeah, so I guess a little thought going into that. We'll see. Anyway, moving on. My next one was started on May 26, 2016. I'm pretty sure this was part of Mania, though I thought I only did 15 days or 16 days, so the 26. I think I did every other day to give myself 2 days to stitch on stuff. This is Mermaid of Atlantis, my very first Mirabella. I love her so much. I have her kitted up in a floss box. And I'm so glad I caught that. I'm so close, you guys. I really am. I was going to finish it last year, but like I said, I didn't stitch a lot at the end of last year. I was going to pick her up around my birthday, which is in September, and I didn't really stitch since August, so I didn't really get to stitch on her. So bear with me. She's kind of on my Omanic frames. I realized that when I store these, the bottom one kind of slides off kind of easily, probably because there's no tension, so I have it rolled up and tied it with a little ribbon. but as soon as I start loosening it, the bottom one comes undone. So anyway, I'm gonna kind of do this so you can see. I don't have any like backing. I think that helps. So there you can see her. She is almost done as far as cross stitching is concerned, including the metallic. There's a little bit to do in her hair, you can see there, and then the bouquet she's holding. Other than that, I just have the beading left. I actually decided not to do the border. I kind of went back and forth a lot. Of course, when I first started, like, I was still a pretty new stitcher, so I'm like, of course, stitches charted, no changes. But I came to realize I really don't, like, I went back and forth a lot with the border, and eventually I was like, you know what, if I'm going back and forth this much, I'm just not going to stitch it, because clearly it's not convincing me. I wish I had known that when I was working on her, because I would have started the pattern accordingly and saved a little bit more of the fabric, but it is what it is. I think I can still salvage some, maybe do like an ornament or some other small project on there, and at least use the extra fabric from something. I also would really like to get a custom mat board by Jo Renzel of Renzel Studios. She paints really beautiful mat boards. She also does framing, but she's in Oregon? I don't know. A state far from here. I'm sure it's one of the, I think it's Oregon. Oregon? I'm almost sure, but either way, there's no way I could pay for the framing and the shipping of that framing. So I think what I would do, because you have to obviously send her your piece so she can do whatever it is she's going to do. I would ask her to do the mat board. That's going to have to be already protected. So that's still going to be some shipping cost involved, but at least it won't be shipping, you know, a heavy, you know, framed piece. Yeah, we'll see. So I will definitely want to do that next year. I'm sure she does some sort of quote too. I'll have to write her. Maybe I can send her a picture of like my finish and then kind of at least get an idea of how much it would cost, just so that I'm prepared, you know. But yeah, so goal is to finish her this year. She is on my WiP Go board. Hopefully I do get her done. Alright, my next one is Little Mermaid. This is by MCG Textiles, the Disney Dreams collection from the Thomas Kincaid's paintings. As you can see, super gorgeous, very detailed. I think the camera's adjusting the colors. I had this wild idea of doing all the Disney Dream kits, but there were a lot more than I originally thought, and now that they're out of print, it's just not realistic. So I don't know. I really hope another company would pick up the contract. I think Dimensions Gold would do a beautiful job. I know some people on the Facebook group for these stitches mentioned Heaven and Earth, but I think that makes it a little less realistic for some of us to be able to stitch, because like Heaven and Earth is a lot of commitment. So if you wanted to do more than one, like, it'd be really difficult to do so. But I started this on the 31st of May 2016. And that's what it looks like. So it's basically split up into 4 pages. This is the first one, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's fairly large. I really like it. I think it looks pretty. I know a lot of people had some issues with the colors of the floss. It just didn't match what it said it was on the, you know, on the pattern. So I know that was one of the issues with MCG Textiles. I don't know if that's really why they stopped making them. I think it must have been more of a contract thing with either Disney or Thomas Kincaid. My next one is Stardust Fairy. This was started June 5th, 2016. I'm almost 100% sure I started this for a Joan Elliott Sal. This is what she looks like. It is a collab between DMC and Joan Elliott. I don't think it's available right now. I know it's definitely not on the DMC website, but there is a possibility that it has been released. Oh, it looks like 2014 is the copyright on this. That it was released to Joan Elliott as the designer, and she has it available through some other means. I'm not sure if she does. Please don't quote me on that. If you know of it being available somewhere, please let me know in the comments down below, and I'll include that link in the description box. But as of now, I don't know if it is available. So, by the way, if you're interested in these little folders, they're just plastic like document folders. They're available in clear, I think like a gray see-through, bright colors, and these are the I don't think pastel, I was gonna say pale, no, pastel colors. They are on Amazon. I'll try and find the link and include it in the description box. If you're really interested and I forgot to link it, just shoot me a comment and I'll make sure to do that. But yeah, so this is where I am at with her. She is also on Ornament bars, like right up to the edge, because when I bought them, I just bought all the sizes I thought I wanted. I believe this is the 40 centimeter. I should have gotten the 50. But basically I got every other size starting at 40. I didn't get the 20 because I didn't think I'd use, like if it was that small, I figured I'd use a Q-snap. So I got the 40, the 60, 80, and then I think I went back and got 70. I'm like, I wish I'd gotten a 50. So I may consider getting a 50, maybe if there's a sale or something. It's just, you know, it's kind of hard to get. It's a big commitment to make because they, you know, they come all the way from Estonia, but no worries. You know, anyway, so this is on a 28 count opalescent even weave. I'm not sure which kind of, I think it's just even weave, I don't know. It's called Bashful. I got it at my LNS, the cross stitch cupboard. I actually had started this on the called for 14 count Stardust Fairy Ada by Charles Crafts, which is what part of the DMC collab I think was all about. But at this point I hadn't done any over 1/1 skin, and I thought this would be my first, but obviously you see I just got skirt here. Yeah, I did not get to the 1/1 skin. I have done plenty of a 1/1 skin since then, but I am glad it is on this. So when I do get to it, she will be over 1/1. But when I thought that I would be done a lot quicker with this, you know, this was like, oh yeah, that'll be my first 1/1 skin. So she's not on the radar for this year, but she's definitely going to be a focus for finish next year. I just have a lot others that I'd like to just get done. So what else have I got for you? I feel like, yeah. Alright, so this one is called, next one, the Fantasy Sal. I started this on June 23rd, 2016. This is a collaboration between Doreen Jones and Lakeside Needlecraft. This was the first sal. If you know anything about Lakeside Needlecraft, you know they've blown up. They have sals all the time. I don't have a picture of the final finished product, so I'll insert what that should look like here. And this is where I am. I actually was inspired to work on this as I was preparing for this video. So I decided to throw it in a Q-snap and do it because this gave me such a hard time. So I've got all the out circles done because it's in the Q-snap. I'm not going to take it out, but it's 12 circles like this. There's 4 rows, so 3 rows, and you can see the edge kind of what it looks like. So you're not missing out too much. And there's the August block. So this was a really interesting sal because the border was released in June and the pattern didn't come out till August, the first block. So it was an August through July release. So even though it was a yearly stitch along, it didn't start in January, which is pretty cool because a lot started in January. So I think it kind of opened up a way for people to do a sal when they weren't like, you know, they weren't in their whole like new plans, new year, possibly a lot of other sals they were starting. So I thought it was really cool. The reason this gave me such a hard time is I decided to do this in Mo Sale silk. I know a lot of people don't really enjoy this silk because it's not really a silk like a Karen Water Lilies is or a Dinky Dyes. It's like almost like the DMC satin. So it's very slippy, it's hard to work with, but I love the effect of the DMC satin of the Mo Sale silk. Slightly different effect, but very similar feeling floss. And I'm fine with it. It does, I mean, it does fray a bit. It's a little harder to work with. I'm not going to lie, but I figured out something that works for me. The reason it was an issue was 2 things. 1, I made a counting error in him somewhere. This is a Pegasus. And 2, the original pattern calls for him to be, let me see, I think I might have that one printed out. I don't think it's somewhere I can reach it. Drats. Okay, basically, he is a white body and the wings were blue and white and pink. And that just didn't make sense in my head. Like, I know this is a fantasy creature, but that's like if my arms were like purple and green, but the rest of me was still like my skin color. I'm like, that just didn't make sense. So I'm like, let me just make all of him like a silvery pink blue. I mean, he's mythical, so I'd rather him be all pink and blue than pink and blue wings and then like a white body. That just seemed really disjointed. So I chose a Mosil silk that actually had a silvery pink and blue in it, as you can kind of see. But what I didn't realize was the sections were really tiny. So I would cut the blue, for example, stitch like 6 stitches and then need to get more. And it was driving me crazy. And I was upset, and then I made the counting error. So I just like shoved it off to the side. Actually, there's kind of also a third reason. I was also working on the Clouds Factory Magical Creatures calendar. And it was very similar. Like, the style is completely different, but there was like a Pegasus also in their blocks. There's a mermaid here, there's a mermaid in that one, there's fairies in that one and fairies in this one, there's a wizard in that one, there's a wizard in this one, and the colors were very close. So I think that was also like, I didn't want to do the same thing twice kind of thing. So it just went away, and every time I thought about it, I was like, the mistakes. I mean, they were totally my fault because of the floss I chose and the counting error that I made. Nothing against the pattern. I love the pattern. It's beautiful. Now that I'm almost done with the block, I'm like really excited about it, but I hadn't included it in my plans for this year. So definitely next year, totally gonna pick it up. But every time I thought about it before this, I was like, ugh, that's gonna be such pain. But I got him done. It looks like a big blob because I haven't backstitch, but I still have to do the rainbow, and I like to do all the cross stitching before I do any back stitching, because sometimes like the X's will go over some of the back stitching. So the big blob will eventually be up, but you can kind of see it if I hold it far away, so it's really exciting. It also looks like it blends into the fabric a lot, but it really doesn't. You can see it. So I'm excited. I almost thought about like, well, maybe I'll do the November block too, but I might just wait off because I do have a lot to work on, and I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. If I magically reach all my goals, I can pull that one out and work on it. Alright, so my next one, is this just the, yeah, I don't think there's a picture available, unfortunately, of this. I'll insert a picture of what this should look like here. Alright, so this is a chatelaine freebie. I feel like it's been available sometimes and sometimes it's not, so you might have to just kind of check on it. By the way, these are from Office Depot. I really like these. It's a pencil pouch. It's just a vinyl pouch with a slide, but it has this pocket in front, and I have a few projects with those in it. I don't have another one handy right now, because what I'm doing is I'm setting up like 5 or 6 projects, then going to get the next one anyway. So I like this because you can throw your floss in here and other things if you'd like, and sometimes it's nice to have that separation, especially if you're traveling, in case anything were to happen, your fabric doesn't, you know, get stained or whatever. So I really like these for travel purposes, but obviously you got a place where you need to have like a big purse or some sort of bag that you can actually store these in. Also, they are meant to be pencil pouches, so you could also stick it in a binder or folder, but these are a really good option. So those are nice. I just stuck it in here because it's a smaller project. So this is what I got so far. It's not really a lot. I actually had to take some stitches out because like this was my first mandala piece, and slipping, and I didn't think to mark the top initially. You can see my top is very clearly marked there, and the stitches were not going the right way because of the way I was holding the fabric. So when I get back to it, it should be a fairly quick stitch. I'm thinking, even though it's not officially in my projects to finish and work on this year, whenever I need a little break or I want a small finish, I will pull this out and work on it and try and get it done because it's been sitting for a while. I believe I actually started this for a chatelaine, like a intro to chatelaine Sal was basically the idea, and it was literally like, go on there, pick one of the freebies, and let's stitch it together, and then maybe get over some of the intimidation that some of us feel when stitching a chatelaine. I think that's part of the reason I haven't gone for a full-blown large chatelaine, and also this large number of WIPs that I got going on here. if I'm going to invest that much money, I want to be working on it a little bit more consistently. So I think when I reduce the amount of WIPs that I have, I will kind of reward myself by getting a chatelaine and being able to devote that time to learning the stitches, practicing them if I need to, and then enjoying joyfully stitching one of those beautiful large pieces. So, alright, so that was Manuela's Sunflowers. I started that the 25th of June of 2016. Okay guys, so next up I have the Epic Pokemon Generation 1 cross stitch. This is a very large full coverage and I have very little of it. I don't have a picture of what it's meant to look like, so I'll insert that here. And this is a free pattern that is meant to be huge. I don't know if I cut this or not. I get the feeling I did cut it for it, and look. Yep, basically the size of a heaven and earth design. So this is where I am at, and honestly I started it, maybe worked on it one more time, and left it there since. Just the very, very beginning. So this is one of those long-term pieces, and yeah, it's there's no plans to work on this anytime soon. Maybe I'll do one of those things where I make sure I touch this project at least a couple times a year, but it's not going to be a priority by any means because, yeah, it's just not. So anyway, I'm trying to read something that I dropped and I have it on my lap. Got it. So yeah, that is definitely in the long-term pile because I don't know, it's not something that I'm like, I don't want to stitch it. I do want to stitch it, but it's just not a priority in the least. So it might be hanging out there for a really long time. Who knows? And did I say when I started that? July 1st, 2016. And I believe it might have been for a sale. So the next piece is from this book called Cross Stitch Safari by Jane Mayhew. She has amazing, you can see some of her cross stitch designs and very realistic, gorgeous, gorgeous designs. I have started with the Flycatcher, I believe it's called. The pattern is called a graceful tail, but the bird is the Paradise Flycatcher. And this is what he's going to look like when he's done, or she. I'm actually just going to do the bird and maybe a little bit of the branch. At first, I didn't even realize this was a nest with like little baby birds in it. I just glanced at it and it just looked like a really messy bush, and I was like, I don't want to stitch that. So I might stitch the branch so he's not just floating. And depending on how I want to finish him, I'll have to decide how long to make that branch. Like if I'm just going to make it like fade off, or if, I don't know. But as you're about to see, I'm quite far along with him, so I really don't want to add any more stitching than I need to. So this, I keep thinking him, but I mean, could be a her. So I've got the head done, the body, and most of the long part of the tail done. So I just got to finish the tail and then do his body here, or her body. And then whatever I decide to do with the branch, maybe just a little bit, so again it's not just like floating in midair. But I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what I want to do. At first I was thinking an oval frame, but then I think the proportions are just gonna look off. Like, okay, so if I make it an oval, it's just not gonna work. It's gonna have to be some sort of rectangle. So I'll have to decide what I want to do with it when I'm done. Maybe I'll start stitching a branch, and then when I decide how I want to finish it, I can really decide if I need to add more stitches or not. And that was started on the 9th of July of 2016. My last project I'm carrying over from 2016 is called I Didn't Do It. This is a Busilicate, and yes, it had the hard to sort floss, but at least it was a lot less colors. So yeah, so this is what this looks like. And I have chosen not to do this stripe here. I think this is supposed to be some sort of like old-fashioned chair that the dog is peeking out from behind. I picked this for two reasons. One, it was one of the only kits available when I thought like all you could get was kits. And two, it kind of looks like one of my dogs. Not exactly, especially not the whiskery part, so I might not even do all the whiskers. But I don't know, maybe I'll shorten them up because she does have a little bit, but not like, I don't know. But yeah, So at first I thought that was going to be a big issue because I'm like, well, it's supposed to be a 5x7, so if I cut this off, it's not going to be 5x7 anymore, but that's okay. I probably will do some sort of flat fold or something instead of framing it. Like, not everything has to be framed. I didn't realize that. And I actually got all the background done, so that's good. I stopped at the fun part, but I think I was just over it. So anyway, so here is where I am at. And I don't think I've touched this since maybe 2017. But yeah, so the dog is ready to go. Why do I feel like the bottom isn't done? Okay, no, that's not true. I didn't finish all the background. I finished on the bottom. I finished, I think, up to here. So I think after I stitch his ear, I'll stitch the inner part because I didn't want to mess up, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why I didn't continue the bottom. Maybe I'll try and finish that up first, and then I'll go back and stitch the dog. Who knows? But anyway, not in my radar for this year. Maybe if I finish some stuff, I might pull it out. And this one is one of those that I have in one of these pouches. So yeah, I'm excited to get him done. Well, if it's for my dog, really, it's a her. But I'm just very happy that I kind of have a bit of a plan, because it had been on my year of WIPs for a couple times, and then I kind of had left it. So yeah, anyway, sorry, I'm moving this over because I'm going to be using these soon. All right, my next project now, this is into 2017. I started on January 3rd, 2017. This is Birthstone Dragons by Ingleside Imaginarium. This is on 32 count. 32 count? I'm pretty sure it's 32 count. Midas Gold by Silk Weavers. I got this off of eBay because to get Silk Weavers fabric, you either need to go to their store or just get it on eBay because they don't have the best rapport with the community about sending fabrics. They take a really long time, and you will eventually get it, but unless you're prepared to wait a long time, yeah. Anyway, so this is by Brittany of Ingleside Imaginarium. This was her very first stitch along. I only got to January. One of the reasons I stopped is because I was thinking about something I wanted to do, which was incorporate a metallic fiber into all the dragons, into the darkest color of the dragon, and I didn't do that with the first one. So I've been like, do I need to rip it out and restitch it? Or not like all of it, but just that one color, or is that going to disrupt it? And I'm pretty sure I had to do some frogging and restitching. So I think for what I might do is do the February dragon whenever I pick this back up with my idea in mind, and then see if I can mimic that by doing the metallic over the darkest color. And then if I really find that it's not looking good, then maybe I'll just somehow nicely and neatly as possible rip out those stitches. I don't know, we'll have to see. But I'm looking forward to working on this because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I just think because I had that thought hanging in my head, I was like, oh, what am I going to do sort of thing? Like, how is this going to work out? And I think I have a plan now. Yeah. Anyway, that's my Birthstone Dragon Sow, and I'm pretty happy with it, I would think. Pardon my reach there. I think that kind of stopped me from working on it some more, so yeah. So that's that. Okay. Next, I have my QS Phantom of the Opera. This is by Heaven and Earth. I'm pretty sure it was released in 2017 because I think I remember looking for Phantom pieces, and I know Mystic Stitch 1 has one, but it didn't really convince me. And I know Tilton Crafts has one, but it wasn't like a picture it was one of the artistic drawings, which is very cute, but for Phantom I didn't want that. So anyway, when Heaven and Earth Designs released this, I bought it and I kitted it up. So that's what it's meant to look like. And I have very, very little done of this. I am right there. I actually only had the yellow bit done for the longest time, and then there was a Heaven and Earth stitching day weekend on sometime at the very end of 2019, and I was like, I have not stitched since August. I want to do this, so I pulled this out and I added more yellow and then this black and red part here. So unfortunately I don't have this in the plans for this year, but I'm thinking next year for sure. As of now, I'm going to put this in the long-term category. This is one of the 7 because I really don't know when I'm going to take it out. And basically any full coverage that isn't in the like priority section, I'm just going to put in the long-term pile. And I'm really going to try and not start too many full coverages until I'm done, or at least close to done with other ones that I have, because I just, as fun as it is to start stuff, I don't want to start so much stuff that it just sits there and never gets done, because I really like finishing stuff. I like the process. I think we have to like the process if we're stitchers. Like, we can't just be like, I hate this so much, I hate this so much, but I just want this on my wall. No, like, you just buy a print of something. But there is like strictly process stitcher that could start like 400 items and be cool with that, or whatever number is your threshold, 80, 100, whatever, but just a lot, and knowing that like some of these might never be finished. I can't do that. I really like to finish stuff, so I don't want to start a bunch of full coverages that are just gonna like take up space in my WIP pile and just not really get done. So anyway, that's that one. Alright, next I've got, oh, and I started that on March 29th, 2017 in preparation for Phantom that I saw that year for the 6th time, because I love Phantom. It's like the best show. I see it like most of the times that it comes. I missed it a couple times, but I've had the pleasure of seeing that on Broadway courtesy of my dad as a gift. My husband has taken me a few times. I bought the tickets one time. Yeah. I love that show. Anyway, moving on. Next I have Bluebeard's Princess Mirabella. I started this on May 22nd, 2017, and I did do it for Stitch Mania that year. I didn't do a lot. I just did 5 projects, 1 every week. 2 were already started, and 1 has since been finished. 1 was Mermaid of Atlantis, which you saw in the 2016 section. This was the 4th start, and that's what she's meant to look like. And this is my interpretation. This is a color conversion. It is available through the Mirabella Conversions group on Facebook. So definitely check it out if you're interested. It's not my conversions to share, but it's there if you want it. Or is it? I'm pretty sure it is. I'm almost 100% sure it is, but I love it. I like the original colors, but the thing is, I want to stitch a lot of mermaids. I love mermaids. Not every single mermaid, because at first I'm like, yeah, every single one, because like I'm a completionist like that, but that's not realistic. I don't love every single one. I love almost every single one, but there's like 2 or 3 that I'm like, eh. So yeah, the thing with mermaids, except for her, she's got like teal and blue hair, but most of them have brown hair and either green, blue, or teal tails, which is nice, but gets kind of repetitive. And if I want to stitch all of them, I want them to be a little bit more variety. So when I saw this color conversion, I loved it. This is on 20 count opalescent Gina by, oh goodness, I want to say by Picture This Plus. I'm almost sure this is a Picture This Plus fabric. This isn't even what I originally ordered, but when I got it, I was like not happy with it, and this was sitting on the table at my LNS. Either she had just cut a piece or that had just arrived, and I was like, that's the fabric. So I got really lucky. So I got quite a lot done. I worked on her for a week, and I haven't really worked on it much since. Maybe a little bit, but she hasn't really been on my radar. So this is on a different scroll frame, not the Omanix. The one thing I like about this is that when you're working on it, you can loosen it and roll like this. Whereas with the Omanix, you have to undo the fabric and redo it to a different section. So, but this doesn't have as good of tension. So it just depends like what the priority is with that one. But she is unfortunately not in my year of WIPs this year, just because I had so much going on. Even though I absolutely love her, I just like, I needed to be realistic, and I just knew that I really wasn't going to be able to put. Now, something I could have done is put her on there and like done a goal of like just finish the tail or devote, you know, like 36 hours of work in the year or something like that, but I didn't, so I mean, it is what it is. I will work on her next year. I hope to get her done next year. She's another one I'm considering maybe doing a Jill Runsell frame for. So, pardon my reach, but I'm going to reach for my other piece. Whoa! Almost dropped what I got here. Sorry, I'm trying to do this kind of as quickly as possible, but not rushing, which is kind of hard to do. Here, let me just use the rolling feature and not stretch quite as much in front of the camera. Alright, my next one is my currently last Mirabella mermaid that I have started. After, like I said, since I'm trying to whip down, I think after I finish all these mermaids, in fact, once I get to Bluebeard, she should be the only one I have going from Mirabella. And I think after that, I'm going to try and do one at a time. Maybe like a fancy lady and a mermaid, or else I'll be stitching mermaids forever and never get to like the other Mira charts I'd like to stitch. But definitely just one mermaid at a time, just so I can really focus on finishing. The next one I started on May 29th of 2017, and this is Aphrodite Mermaid, which at the time I believe this was her newest mermaid release. This is what she looks like, or what she will look like. And I'm doing my very own first color conversion experience with this piece. This is on a 32 count Murano by Crafty Kitten. This was, I think it's called Daybreak, and it was sent to me by the lovely Adele. I had sent her some fabric, and so she sent this as a return gift, which she did not need to do, but she did because she's Adele and she's super nice. So she chose to start this mermaid on that date on the fabric I sent her, so like it just worked out, especially because of the color choices I made. So instead of the teal and green, which teal and blue black kind of thing, which again I really like, I decided to do pink and blue, which I think Leslie of Under the Sea Fabrics did something similar, and I was inspired somewhat by that, but it's definitely like my own thing. I made some choices on here that she did make, like she used the black outline, I did not. I'm using a dark blue for, like, all that dark blue you see there is meant to be black, and also the Krynic is a purple, and I think it looks really cool, but I made the mistake of using a Krynic that I already had, which wasn't the problem. It's a size 8 braid. This is 32 count fabric. It's a pain in the butt. I'm using a 24 count needle just for that Krynic, but a 24 size needle just for the Krynic. But the rest I use my regular 28 Petite, which I love. But I just wanted to use it up. And it was not a good idea because it's really hard. Thankfully, there's not a lot of it together because that also would get really bulky, but it's just hard to get through the fabric. So I usually, when I do work on it, I stitch a little, then do some floss, like regular cotton floss, and stitch a little and do some regular cotton floss. I'm also going to choose not to do the shell, and there was a reason why it like didn't sit well with me, and I didn't really know what it was, and I think I figured it out. The shell does not look proportional to her, and things that are not proportional on patterns usually kind of bug me a little bit. Like sometimes I get it, but it just looks like she's coming out of this shell and it just doesn't seem like it's big enough for her to be in it. I don't know. And I think that's what threw me off about it, and that's why I'm choosing not to do it. So it's gonna be fine. My goal, she is on my WIP Go board. My goal is to finish her. I think I can do it. I will reassess again halfway through the year, but I think I can do it. So yeah, I don't know how the conversion color is going to work out. It might not look as I thought it would, but I'm just having fun with it. If I really, really wanted to one day in the future, I could always stitch her again in the regular colors. I don't think I would, but you know, it's an option. So yeah, so that is Aphrodite Mermaid. Hopefully I will finish her this year. That would be amazing. Yeah. Okay guys, so moving right along, I have Heaven and Earth Design Story Keep and More. This is, Story Keeps are pretty small. They're usually thin and long, kind of almost like bookmarks, but not that tiny. I mean, they're still too long to be a bookmark, but they're small. So there's a design really at the bottom there. I feel like something just fell. And the wording at the top, and I just really like that idea. So this was for a challenge they hosted back in 2017. It was basically for people to try different methods of stitching, and for this one you had to park, but you had to work horizontally. You could not work up and down. And I started it, did not finish it. I believe this is the length of the chart. You can kind of see there the silvery, so it's not too bad. And you can see my park threads that, yeah, I didn't get a lot done. But yeah. I don't know if I'm much of a parker, you guys. I feel like it worked okay for this project, but I feel like this is confusing. I feel like when I pick this back up, I'm going to be like, what the heck color was that? I don't know. I might have to figure out a way, but I think I'm more of a cross-country person. So anyway, we'll see. So that's how far I am on it. Not on the radar for this year. This is on 28 count Monaco by Charles Crafts. And I'm doing 2/1 10th stitch, so a half stitch. It definitely helps make it a lot faster. The coverage is alright. I'm still not always 100% sure on it, but I think I've grown accustomed to it. I have another piece I'll show later on that I'm doing that way as well. And I'm pretty happy with how it looks. So, especially because like a lot of times when I'm not happy, it is when I'm stitching and I'm like, nobody looks at it like that. It's on the wall. It's you're not going to see it. So I actually was able to use a scrap I had left over from something, so I was very pleased about that. I think that was the reason I chose to do it on this fabric. But yeah, I think it's a good option for projects that I'm okay not doing full cross. I still think the full cross looks nicer. There's something about it, but I think this looks fine. And it depends, I think it depends a lot on the design as well. But that's that one. We'll see when I pick it back up. I can't remember if I put that in the long-term pile. I don't think I did because it's just a story keep. So even though it's a heaven and earth, it shouldn't take that long. Alright, next I've got Gloria Autumn. This was started on the 5th of June, 2016. I'm on 2017. This is a a dimensions kit. It's very beautiful. It's not gold or anything, it's just dimensions. So there is some detail, but it's not too crazy. I mean, there's some half stitches in the background which will help, as well as in the creek there. I have the tiniest of starts on this. It's really cute. And it should be available still for not too much money. So, this comes with 14 count cream Ada. I thought about switching it out. I still might because I have the tiniest start on this. I started in the middle and I just have one line. It's like the top of a roof. And I just started it, I think, for a salve for this piece. And it's just kind of been sitting there since then. So, I don't know. I mean, it's almost like not even started, right? But it's beautiful. I can't wait to stitch on it, and I think I might just leave it on the Ada. If anything, I might switch it to 16 count Ada, because the main thing I don't like about 14 count is that sometimes the fabric shows through. So that's what I might do, is maybe get an 18 count, a 16 count. I mean 18 count would work, but I think because there may be some sections, actually, no, there's not. I thought there might be half stitches with like large amount of threads, but it doesn't look like there is. So I might get an 18 count Ada, and I think I really like how like petite stuff looks on 18 count Ada. So maybe I'll try to get myself some cream 18 count Ada. No plans to work on it this year, so maybe next year, or maybe if I really want to like get it started on that 18 count Ada, I might do just that and then have it ready to go for when I'm really ready to pull it out. So we'll see. But yeah, so I love that piece. I just I started it and I just had so much going on, I never got back to it, but it really is a lovely piece. It's a lovely piece. Alright, so where am I? Crescent Moon 1. This is by Stitchy Nova on Etsy. I started this on June 9th, 2017. And I'm not quite sure if I did it to commemorate any of the new Sailor Moon coming out. I might have, or I might have just seen it and loved it. I wish she had this. Oh, the floss just fell. I'll pick it up in a minute. Do I have the picture of what this is going to look like? I don't know if I do. I may have to insert. Oh wait, no. It's in black and white, but you can kind of see. So that's what it looks like, but this is all in pink floss. It's quite long actually, unless I measured something wrong. Or I just didn't cut my fabric. I would love it if she did this for the other Senshi's wands. The only thing that would make me sad is that Saturn never got an official wand, so I'd be missing Saturn, but I would love it if she did. Maybe I'll like write her an Etsy message and be like, hey, did you ever think of this? I mean, you probably did, but I would love it if you did the other Senshi. Like, see, this is how much I have cut out. And I don't know, I feel like this is cut at the bottom, but that just seems really huge. Maybe it's not this long. I don't know. Anyway, let me show you how much I've got. Not a lot. I worked on it maybe 2 days, and it went away. But this is where I got. This is on 18 count Opolis and white Ada. I love it. And it's in very pinky Sailor Moon Usagi font. And I love it. I really love it. I really hope she takes out the other Senshi. In fact, like I said, I think I might write her and request she does. We shall see. I don't even have plans to work on this one this year. But just ideas I have. Just ideas, you guys. Alright. Alright, this next one I started on July 5th, 2017. I don't even have a model picture of this. But, if you're interested, I will include the link down below to the page of what I can find. I feel like this one's a little tricky. I don't know if it's like search engine optimization thing or if it just depends on the page. I don't know. But sometimes when I Google it, I find just the link to the January piece, and then you have to click around the blog and find the others. And sometimes it's within the first couple pages I find the link to just where you can easily see all of them. I don't know what it is, but this is a free SAL from a Hungarian site. This is the 2015 SAL, and it's just a monthly SAL, and it's meant to be motifs of every month. The original chart was it was 2 rows of 3, and it had a quote in the middle, and I didn't like that, so I just took that out. I've seen some really cool finishes though on the website and online. Most people chose to do a variegated a variegated floss, but I saw one really cool person where they did, like, each motif is actually like, if you look at it, it's kind of a little figure. Like the April one has tulips and the January one has snowflakes, and they chose different colors, solid colors, and made it look more like a picture. I also saw a really cool finish where they made cubes, because it's 2 6-sided cubes, because it's a perfect square for each month. So I have all the way up to June. I had hoped to finish this last year, and I just didn't stitch too much after that. After July, so I didn't get to it, but I definitely think I can finish it this year, and I did include this on my WiP Go board. I'm going back, and I don't think I missed anything else that's been on my WiP Go board, so my goal is to finish. So far I've got January, and I am choosing the variegated floss kind of idea, February, March, and even though those first 3 are very like common colors for holidays that occur in the month, like January is very wintry, February the Valentine's, and March the St. Patrick's Day. The others I tried to go for color that kind of went with the essence of the month. If it's very summery, or like July is very like bright, like for 4th of July, but I didn't want to be too traditional. Like I didn't make July red, white, and blue, and I know the Christmas one is going to have red and green, but it's just not going to be a red, green, and white. So I was trying to be unique within the idea. There's April, May, June, and July. I actually had some of August done, but I took it out because I was not happy with the color, and I struggled a lot with the color choice, and I think I found something that I'm happy with now. So when I pick this back up, I'm ready to go. The only color I'm dubious about is November, because the one I really want to do, I think is going to clash with the December color. So I think what I'm going to do is, because of the way it's set up, it's going to be really easy to stitch December. So I'm going to finish August and September, then I'll do October and December, and then like really I'll like have everything else done. It'll be really easy to see where I'm at and what color I'm going to go with for November. Alright, so moving on, I have A Good Marriage, my last project from 2017. This was started on November 1st. My anniversary, my wedding anniversary is November 23rd. My dating anniversary is November 25th. We were shooting to get married on November 25th, but it just did not work out. So it is what it is. This is A Good Marriage by Lissy Kate, and I wanted to have this done for our anniversary that year, but I just didn't. I chose to use the... So this has a DMC option, a Crescent Colors option, and it has one Gentle Art sampler threads. I chose to do it all in Gentle Art sampler threads for a couple reasons. One, well, this is what it looks like. The words are in like blue and 2 shades of brown. I didn't like that idea. I thought it made it look a little bit dull. I have seen it stitched and it is very pretty, but for me it just wasn't working. So I decided to do red and purple because red is my husband's favorite color and purple is mine. And then I just chose Gentle Arts for the rest of the parts of the SAL. So these are the flosses here that I'm going to use, or I am using. Some of them you'll see in action, some I haven't actually worked with yet. The blue is the only one that's like really different, but the other ones are a pretty close match to what was charted, except for the red and purple. But the blue, I just thought it was a little too dull, so I went for a more teal color. So that's gonna be one color, and then the rest I think you'll be able to see. So that's my color palette. I love it. I know that's like not the best, but I really like it. I had fun choosing the colors. I think they're a lot more vibrant and it's a lot more fun. And this is on my WiP Go board, and my goal is to finish. All my goals were finishes except for the page finishes I have on WiP Go. But I am modifying some of them to half because it's just not realistic. This one should be fine though. So this is where I'm at. I have A Good Marriage and just Must Be Created and some of the motifs going on. So I don't have a ton, but I mean it stitches up pretty fast, so it shouldn't be a big deal. I think it's also nice and petite. This is on a 35 count piece of fabric. I don't know if it was meant to be 35 count or if something happened in the dyeing process. So this looks like it's raw linen, so I don't know. But yeah, I'm happy with it. It's cute. I like it. And I just haven't picked it up. So that's why it's not done. Alright, next, moving on to 2018 now. I have my Forest Animals birth sampler. I don't even know if it's actually called that. It's from Etsy. It is a birth sampler. I did modify it, however, because my friend that I'm doing this for said she, you know, I told her about it and I said, hey, you know, like, what do you want on there? Not everybody wants, and she didn't. She just wants the name. So there'd be just a lot of empty space because the pattern is created for having, you know, I think the date, the time, and the birth weight, and it was just too much empty space. So basically it's this but just taller. So I cut it down to fit in an 8x10 frame, and I like miscalculated the edges, but thankfully it will just fit on a foam core. I just have to be very careful when I pin it. But there it is. Do I have a picture? Yes, I do. So you can see here how it's charted. So it's got the date, the time, the weight. It's in black and white, but you get the idea. So that's what it looks like. So yeah, that was just going to be too much space. So I'm going to cut it down. I'm not going to do any of the arrows. I'm just going to use a fun font and do the animals and then just the name up top. So that should be pretty easy to finish because it's blocks of color. Again, I just didn't really pull it out, and when I was stitching it, I was doing three birth samplers, including this one, so I finished 2 of them, and this one's still not done. So, but I really gotta get it done. She's a little bit older than my daughter, so she's already 2, but yeah, so it's not like the hugest deal, but it's still. Alright, so this one, I'm not really going to show you a picture just to cut down the insertion, plus it's almost done. This is, I'm sorry. Oh wait, out of order. Okay, this is a Little Mermaid Sleeps. This is by White Lion Needle Art Designs, and I got this from my LNS aftermarket in 2018. So they knew I just had a little girl. They actually threw me a beautiful baby shower. I'm hosted by one of the ladies at my LNS, the cross stitch cupboard, and they knew I love mermaids, and I was planning everything to be mermaid themed. So she made a mermaid baby shower. It was great. So when, you know, the ladies from my LNS went, they were like, when I came in, they're like, oh, we got you something. And I mean, I had to buy it, like a Little Mermaid Sleeps. It's beautiful. I bought it immediately. I found fabric, the color I wanted, and in order to stay within my budget, because like I just had a baby, our budget like drastically changed. Now I was on maternity leave, and as we all know, maternity leave in the US, well, it's not paid. And I didn't have too much sick time. I used some, but I didn't have like a ton, you know, so anyway, I wanted to make it work because I had other things I had planned to buy at market day, and my husband is like, I'll watch her, you go, you have fun, you enjoy the time, get a few hours for yourself. I couldn't stay too long because she was, you know, still a newborn and I needed to nurse her. But yeah, so I found this pink fabric and it's not picking up at all. It looks white. That helps a little bit. The only thing is, it's 40 count. Yes, 40 count. It really hasn't been that bad, especially stretched out in this little Q-snap. I can see through it. It's a nice loose linen, so it works. It's light colored. It's fine, but it's still been interesting. So yeah, I really need to work on it. It's really not going to take me too long to get done, I think. Besides that, I'd like to get it done this year, so I included it in my WiP Go board. I'm doing, some of this is 1/1. The mermaid herself is technically 1/2. Sorry, 1/2. But the mermaid is technically 2/2, but I'm using two very thin threads because I tried just using the metallic, which was my idea, but you just couldn't see it. The metallic, it was too light. So I included one thread of my Most Sail Silk and one thread of this, and they're, whoa. It is not focusing. Oh God. There it goes. Sorry about that. So it's a little thicker than a 1/2, but it's not quite as thick as if I were doing like a cotton 2/2, trying to squish that into a 40 count. So it's not bad. But you know, just the 40 count itself is a new experience. I'm still learning it. So that's why, yeah, it's just, yeah. Anyway, that's on my WiP Go board. I want it to be done this year. I think I can do it, no problem. I just have to pick whenever, either probably when it gets called, it'll just become the when I pull it out. It could get called tomorrow. The 27th is when we get our new numbers. So tomorrow is the 27th, right? Yeah. Yeah, it is. Okay, and I didn't mention that I started this on March 31st, 2018. So yeah, that's that one. Alright, so the next one is the one I mentioned. I'm not going to include a screenshot because you can pretty much see the whole thing. This is Strike a Balance, also known as Yin and Yang, by Emma Congdon Stitch Rovia. So this was originally released in Cross Stitch Crazy as Strike a Balance, but on her Etsy shop it's known as Yin and Yang. So if you ever have a question about her pattern names, that's why. Because if it's originally released in a magazine, it's got one name, and on her website, on her Etsy, I think she changes the name either significantly, like Yin and Yang, or it's similar but not identical. So I started this on June 17th, 2018, and I'm just filling in now. So the rest of this is going to be this yellow and orange color, and this is going to be all blues and purples. So I'm excited. This is not officially on my WiP Go board or like on my plans, but it kind of unofficially is, because I'm thinking of pulling this out at some point this year. I don't know, but I think I can get it done because it's easy stitching. I did have some counting errors, so I have to modify slightly, but it's not horribly so. And I have the thread all sorted out and the you know, so like it's ready to go. Sometimes I'll just pick out like 3 colors of a pattern and work on those and then go back. The threads are all ready to go on this, so yeah. Anyway, that's that one. I'm excited about it. It's really nice. I love Emma Cotton pieces. Her main like style is the fun fonts, but she has quite a few pieces that aren't just fonts. And this I'm using my peels on, by the way, which are great to hold that fabric. And so looking forward to hopefully getting this done, even though it's not officially on my WiP Go. And I think I'm going to frame it in a hoop, and I saw a really cool hoop frame where you literally just pop the hoop into the frame on Instagram. It's a little pricey, but it's not like exorbitant, but I think it's $30 something, so it's not like cheap. I mean, it's really affordable for a frame, but I mean, I don't just always have like $30 something available to pull out, you know, so it's like I have to plan for it, but it's definitely doable. Okay guys, so moving right along, we're getting there. Next I have the drum ornament. I started this on September 26, 2018, and this is where I carry it. It's one of my Ipsy bags from when I subscribed to that makeup subscription. You got a little bag with some products in it every month, and I accumulated quite a few. This is what I really mean by like a travel project, something I can stick in a purse. So this is meant to be my travel project. I've worked on it some, and it's usually really fast stitching. This is by Needle Magic Ink. They're no longer in print, but these hold a special place in my heart because my very first 2 kits were Needle Magic Ink ornaments. So I found quite a few of them on eBay, and I'm pretty sure if you wanted to, you could as well. And this is how much I've got so far. So that's why I said that bluebird I showed you guys was a little big in my mind for a travel piece. So I might just try and finish that out, which is why it was a camping piece, because like I'm a little bit more stationary when I'm camping. So once I get there, I have more space, but I still don't want to take a giant project I'm working on. So I've got like scissors and everything in here. I know you can't really see that, but I've got scissors and the thing I'm marking it off with. So yeah, so that's why I'm saying, or maybe I need to get a little bit of a taller one, which I actually kind of have one, but I have something else in there, so that I can stick it in a purse or a bag. But I realize some might need just a little bit more room, maybe up to this like big, so if it's a bigger one, unless it's on a fabric that I don't mind folding, like a smaller fabric, even smaller than bluebird, that I don't mind stitching in hand, and then I could fold it up and it wouldn't matter. But if it's going to be like perforated plastic or perforated paper, you can't really fold that, so it'd have to be fitting in the bag. But that's drum ornament, and I think I said, but just in case, I started it September 26, 2019, and this was just going to hang around until it's done. I'm pretty sure I'll finish it this year. I'm pretty sure I'll have enough opportunities to get it, but that's kind of, since it's an ongoing WiP, I keep it in the, you know, like long-term WiP, because there should always be a piece there. The last one I have to share with you is Northern Lights by Emma Congdon. I don't think I have a picture of the full thing, so I'll insert what that looks like here. This was also in Cross Stitch Crazy. I don't remember if it was in there as Northern Lights or as Aurora Borealis. I started this as a sale with EJ and another Instagram friend, and I honestly started it and just kind of left it. Let me see if I can fold it so you can really see. So that's the middle of the fabric there. And I think, gosh, I don't even remember if it goes like this or it goes like that. I was actually talking to EJ, and she's like, hey, I'm thinking of maybe UFOing that, and I'm like, you know what, I don't think I'm ready to UFO it, but I'm definitely, it's not in my radar right now. Eventually I may consider it, but I think I'd like to finish it. I just think it might be one that might hang around for a little bit, at least until I can devote the time to it. It's a gorgeous piece. I love the final outcome, and all the colors are like all my jam. But it's just like there's a lot more skipping around than I thought there'd be. So I think I need to find the right time. When I'm like in the mood for it, it'll happen. So I probably won't UFO this just because I really do like the final outcome. I just don't think that I'm going to I'm not in the mood to stitch it anytime soon, and it's not in my radar to finish anytime soon. Okay, next project. I'm trying to think where I have it. I might have to do a little bit of a reach here. Apologize. Woo! Hello. Alright, so my next project is from 2019 now, so we're getting close to the end, guys. This is Mother Moon by Joan Elliott. This was a New Year, New Start. I was very excited to do this New Year, New Start, and I did also start this with EJ. You can get the chart on her website. I think there's also a Design Works kit, but I don't know how available it is. But honestly, for Joan Elliott, I really, unless it's a smaller piece, I really suggest just getting the chart and buying the called fors, mainly because of the metallics. Design Works, I don't think they have a lot of colored metallics, so what they usually do is they include whatever color it is. So in this case, like a purple and a silver and some blending filament, and that gives it the metallic effect. And I think the colored metallic thread it makes a difference. So the floss wise, I don't have a problem with it. Some people still want their DMC. I am usually, no matter what, I will use kit floss because I just can't bring myself to waste all the floss. And for the most part, I don't have any issues. The only company that I haven't been as satisfied with floss is with Janlin. I've had some issues with them, but I still used it. Like, I was able to do it because especially I don't like wasting it. But anyway, Mother Moon, that's what she's gonna look like. I'm quite far along with her, and I had hoped to finish her last year, but I never did get back to stitching. So that's kind of what happened there. This is in a 32 count meditation Lugana opalescent, one of my favorites. Like I think I've said this before, if I ever bought a yard of a fabric, this would be the fabric. I love this fabric, it's gorgeous. I'm pretty far along with her, so I'm really looking forward to getting more of her done. Maybe I can finish her this year. She is on my WiP Go board to finish, but you know, if I don't finish her, it's fine, but I do want to finish her by next year. I'm really looking, hopefully though, to finish her this year. That would really make me happy. And I actually carry this in one of my OG Garen tote bags when they were first trying stuff out. The one thing, I love their business and how well they've done. I'm not a big fabric bag person just because I really have a limited budget right now for stitching. Maybe when I'm older and I have a lot of things behind me, like no car payments and no home payment and no young daughter or daughter in college, maybe then. But now, like, my budget's too limited and I'd rather buy like patterns and stuff, unfortunately. But yeah, so this, I miss the straps because you can carry it as a bag, but I just, you know, they have their thing. It works well. I like their new bags too. I just really like bags with straps, and this was a gift from Gary back in the day. It's been a while. I also have the last project I'm going to show you is in the Notions pouch that was in it. So yeah, I love this bag. And I like it because it's really easy to carry all my stuff, and I stitch that on a lot at the cupboard. So I leave it in that bag. But yeah, so then on January 5th, 2019, I started Dog Lessons for People by Lizzie Kate. I wasn't planning on it because I already had the Good Marriage going, but I got it for Christmas and I was really excited. So January 5th was actually the first Tuesday that the cupboard was open last year, and I took the project and started stitching on it. So this is what it looks like. And again, brown and blues. It's just not my colors. So I changed it. I did use a blue, but a much brighter blue, and pink. I also decided to re-chart this bone here into a puppy. I used a chart from Mega Mini Cross Stitch by Makoto Ozu because I have two dogs. So this one I recharted to be a black dog for my Ellie. And this one's going to be a white and tan dog for my Sammy. I am kind of sad the bone isn't going to be there because I really think the bone is very cute. But the only other place that I can maybe make the bone fit, like the place where the bowl is, could maybe work for the bone, but it wouldn't work for the dog. So the dog had to kind of be there. But if I put a bone in between there, that doesn't make sense because that part is drink lots of water, so the bow makes sense. So whatever, it is what it is. It just won't have a bone. Or maybe I can stick a bone somewhere. Who knows? Maybe instead of one of these pop prints, I'll do a bone. Something. I'll think about it. But yeah, so Dog Lessons for People. This is on a scrap of linen that I believe is 28 count raw. I got it from my LNS at a retreat they had. They had it on a freebie table. What is this? I don't even know what this is, but this isn't even floss. I think it's like fraying from like black fabric. Anyway, the only thing is that I think it's a tad bit on the small side, so I had to shorten the piece a little bit by taking out 5 stitches, which surprisingly was enough to make it fit. So this is where I'm at with it. You can see I chose a blue and a pink color. Also, that heart is charted to be green, and I just made it a red because I think the green looks silly. So I've got it quickly when a growl will do. So like not even a full coat. It just worked. That's how I ended up starting it. So yeah, I think it's barely gonna fit, but I'm thinking of maybe finishing it as a cute cushion, which I think gives it some more wiggle room. Not in the plans for this year, but a fairly easy one to work with, which I think my working copy is somewhere on my shelf. I'm like, hey, the pattern's not even in here. I had a boo-boo with this. I spilled some coffee, so my pattern is all like coffee stained and warped. So I was very glad I had that working copy. But yeah. So anyway, Dog Lessons for People. That's where that one is at. And that was started, I already set January 5th. So on February 20th, 2019, I started my panel for Stitching George Washington. This is a project for US Stitchers, which there was a whole big ado with this. Originally, just all people from all over the world were going to participate, but then the shipping cost got in the way. It was a whole big thing. I thought about backing out just because I know a lot of people had their feelings hurt, but I was very lucky to get my spot, and I got a panel that really works well for me. So the idea is to stitch a really large piece, the largest ever, so that it goes in the Guinness World Book of Records. It is a piece called George Washington Crosses the Delaware, which is a big piece in history. I don't know if I can just share that piece, so if you're interested, please Google it. And I don't know if there's any sort of rules about sharing the panels, so I'll just kind of describe my panel. My panel is towards the middle of the piece, and it's a lot of sky and then a little bit of a face with a little bit of a nose. So it's kind of like this much of a face and then the sky above it. So I got lucky there's at least some of that going on, and I just realized this is super far. So I'm going to try and grab it with my foot, and I did. So look at that talent, guys. This is where I'm at. It's a whole lot of sky. This is the width of my panel though. Some of the panel sizes are like a heaven and earth, like a full size heaven and earth. I got very lucky, which is why I'm like, I got in very late. I was able to get a spot. I got a panel that works for me because I'm not the fastest stitcher. The original target was 5 years, and I believe it was 2022. But even like the people who organized it are also behind, and a lot of the stitchers are saying they're behind. So I think it might get pushed to 2023, maybe even 2024, and I definitely have time because I don't have a super big panel. So I think I just like once I whip down a little bit more, I'll be able to pull this out and work on it more. But again, I don't know if I'm allowed to show you the panel. I don't know what the rules are about sharing like a historic piece like that, even though it's readily available to be Googled. I just don't want to mess with anything. So if you're interested in knowing what it's going to look like, just kind of look up George Washington Crosses the Delaware, or maybe that name is just enough for you to know what it looks like. So yeah, so that's that piece. All right, so on the 22nd of February 2019, oh gosh, I think I messed that up. That was on the 22nd. On the 20th, I started this piece. So a little flip-flop there. Long Dog Samplers, Castles in the Air. I'm not a big sampler girl, and I'm not a big monochromatic piece girl. I have the Sailor Moon piece, and I have this one. I like them, but I think too many is too much for me, and I think I would stitch some of them but add some color in. Some I do like the idea of it being monochromatic though. I just think I can only have so many going at one time. So if you don't know what that looks like, this is what it looks like. And I really like this because the color and the idea of it just called to me. Now something you may notice is when you look at this, what do you think is stitched? My initial thought is the dark is the stitching, but this is actually the white is the stitching and the dark is fabric. And because I had it so ingrained in my mind that and it's like the way the previous made, you can't really tell. I mean, I guess you kind of can if you logically think about it, especially if you notice what the back stitching is. At first, like, I kind of didn't think about the back stitching, and I'm like, oh, I'll just do negative stitching. So when you have like a one-tone piece or even two tones, you stitch the background and leave the stitches unstitched, and it still creates the effect. But when I realized how much back stitching there was, I realized it wouldn't work, because basically what I have to do is stitch and then back stitch with a white over it to kind of give the effect. And then I thought the back stitching would look too bulky, so I just decided to do it on a piece of fabric. I don't know if I cut this right or not, or if I even cut it. I think I just left it as is, and I might cut it if I need to later. And I used the purple, so still get the same effect, but obviously the opposite. I'm using DMC 550, and I just have a little bit corner of that done. I started this for Yanni Jenny Stitcher's birthday month. I wasn't planning on starting anything else for a while. I ended up starting 13 things that year, but she's like, oh, just, you know, stitch something and just use the hashtag because Yanni gave me permission. And I thought that was really cute and fun, so I did, and I did a sampler just because she's really been getting into samplers since 2019, so I thought it'd be a fun way to like commemorate it. Okay, so next I have, is this correct? The Owl by Lenart. This is for a sale that was hosted by EJ of the Sunshine Stitchers, my friend, EJ, who, yeah, I've known them before they were the Sunshine Stitchers, so it's so cool to see like how amazingly they've been received, because they're such fun people, and I'm glad like the entire stitching community, or at least the ones that participate in Flosstube, get to see that. Oh no, did I not? I'll be right back because I really want to show you. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. So this is what this is gonna look like. This is just called Owl by Lenart. And gosh, I really wish that these had been available. Look how detailed those look. And another owl there. But this was on clearance at Hobby Lobby when they had their big 75% off sometime in either it was in 2018 and she hosted the sale for 2019, or it was early in 2019. But they were getting new patterns, I guess. I don't know, but they had a bunch of stuff for 75% off, and so she said, okay, basically anything you were able to purchase during that sale, even if it's just a piece that you use floss that you got for, but it was mostly patterns and kits, or kits rather, I don't think they sell just patterns, that were 75% off. And I said, okay, I have something, I'll start it. I have like the tiniest start, but I did participate in her sale, and I love that. It's just so detailed. I can't wait to see how this pans out. So here is my great big start on the owl. I don't even know which side is facing up. I'm pretty sure it's like this. Started in the middle. I just got some brown. I think it's like right next to the eye there, like right around there. So yeah, not a super big start or anything. I just wanted to kind of participate in her sale, which a few of the starts have been like that. Northern Lights that I've shown you already was like that. This one, and there's one more coming up that I kind of just started to kind of do it with her during the sale, and I haven't touched since then, but that's okay. I kind of knew when I had started it that that was the plan. Alright, so my next one I have to show you is by Tilted Crafts. This is just, I think it's just called Sailor Moon. This is going to be the black and white, but you'll get the idea. Is it just called? Yeah, it's just called Sailor Moon by Tilton Crafts. My hubby got this for me for Valentine's Day when they had one of their sales. And I started it on, oh, the owl was on June 19th, 2019? No, June 11th, 2019, and Sailor Moon was June 19th, 2019. I got a whole page done, and I actually did something a little bit unique. So this is another one where I chose to do the 10 stitching on 28 count fabric. And I decided to outline the piece, and this is something I've thought of doing for a lot of my full coverages. And it really, at least for non-huge ones, I think it works. I think it would work for big ones too, but you just have to kind of be patient with yourself and devote the time. And at first I was being really silly and doing every single little stitch in the outline, and then I realized I didn't have to do that because there were some colors that were like 6 stitches, and because I was just doing the outline, I only had 1 row of stitches to kind of bury threads under, so parts of it were getting really bulky. So then I realized, you know, I can skip around some, and I still get the effect that I wanted. So this is what I'm talking about. I went around the pages and I outlined the whole piece. It wasn't really too bad, considering it's not a super huge one for a full coverage. And I think it's gonna just give me a really good visual of how much of it I have done. And I'm really excited about it. So you can see up here, like, I have every single stitch, and then like once I get, you can see I've got some skips where a lot of the color wasn't used, but you still get the effect. This is page 1 and it is done. And my goal for this year, it is on my WiP Go board to get 1 more page done. I definitely want to go faster than 1 page a year, so it's going to take me a while. But I am, for right now, I just want to get 1 more page done this year. And then next year, maybe I'll shoot for, you know, 3 or 4 pages. I don't know. But it's definitely going to be a while. Like, it's going to be a few years. So, like, that's why I'm saying, like, I don't want to start too many of these because it's a commitment. It's going to take some time. And this looks really tiny, probably because it's on 28 count, or I don't know if their pages are divided to be as such, but I feel like there's a lot more stitching in my Heaven and Earth page, so I don't know. It could just be like the size 2 of the fabric, and I'm just not thinking about what a difference that makes. So yeah, that's some of the background there. And the colors are like some of my favorites, so that really like just adds to how much I love this. I love like a lot of things that I really love and want there to be a lot more patterns for. There's not a lot of, like Phantom. I had to struggle to find one I liked. Sailor Moon, that's not even my fave, like, because this isn't an anime style. This is just somebody's artistic interpretation, and it's cute and everything, and I like the piece, which is why I chose it, you know. And when I was showing my hubby some, like, patterns that I wanted, I usually give him, like, hey, these are some of the patterns we're looking at, and he'll pick one, so it's still kind of a surprise. But this one, I think I was like, hey, I was kind of looking at this. I think I might want it, and he did actually get it for me. But anyway, I wish there was more available. I know somebody said there's a Russian designer, and she is a designer, but she sells it through Facebook, and I don't know, but there's not a lot available that really calls to me for Sailor Moon, like, of the actual characters. Like, there's the wand, but that's not really of a Sailor Moon character. It's just, like, inspired by Sailor Moon. So I don't know. Anyway, sometimes I wish there were more things available for those sort of things, but oh well, it is what it is. So yeah, that's my Tilton Crafts Sailor Moon. Alright guys, we're getting close. South American Angel. I started this on June 19th, 2019. Did I do that right? Sailor Moon was on the 11th. South American Angel was on the 19th. I feel like I messed up a little bit on these dates. So let's just pick up where I am now. South American Angel, I started June 19th, 2019. Again, this was an EJ Sal. It's the Sal with a million hashtags. Heritage Angel Sal, B-Bat Sal, B-Bites Angel Sal, Barbara Bat Sal. Anyway, these are older patterns, and our friend Deb had pretty much all of them. And so when EJ, I think she must have seen one of them, I think was the story. She really wanted to stitch it, and then Deb mentioned she had them, and then so she started a Sal, and I was, I borrowed this one, South American Angel. I am thinking of not doing an angel though. I think I'm just going to go for this girl and not do the wings. And if I do any of the other pieces, I may do something similar. At this time, there were only 4 released: South American, Nordic, Japanese, and Russian. But I think she's got about 8 or 9 out, maybe even more. So there's the ones that are on this page: Nordic, South American, which is the one I'm doing, Japanese, and Russian. I don't know. I might want to do Japanese angel too, but I have so much to stitch. I know the patterns are there, so you know. Anyway, what you're about to see is a little bit of like the hat halo area, which I realize now that I think about it, I might not do the halo either then, because, you know, I'm not making her an angel. So it kind of looks almost like a crown. I don't know, maybe I'll leave it and then decide at the end if I want to do the like halo bit. I just realized they'll kind of have a halo type of deal. So yeah, I may not. This is on 28 count cream. I think it's Off-White is the name of it. Monaco by Charles Crafts. I was very lucky. I didn't think it was going to fit. But it did. And this is just like the Monaco I can get at Michael's. So I was very excited about that. And I have like 15 stitches. Again, started for the sal. I knew though. I just wanted to join in on her sal, but I knew I wasn't going to get to it. Not even on my plans for this year. It's going to be next year. Can you even see? I'm not even showing you anything. A little bit of her hair. That's it. So next year, I plan on actually trying to finish her. So that'll be really fun because I love, like, that's why I really want to go down to like 10-ish WIPs, because I like starting a pattern and seeing it come to fruition fairly quickly. So I think that's why I'm a really good sort of, I guess, candidate for having less WIPs, because I like getting that finish like within a reasonable amount of time and see it come through. So for all intents and purposes, this is going to be basically a start and a finish next year, and I think that would be fun. So yeah. All right, moving on. On the 21st of June, I started this, I don't even know what this is called. I call it Bookshelf. It's an Etsy piece, and all I have is the pattern, so I'll hold it back here. But it's different book spines. There's a quote. I don't know if I'm going to do the quote, or if I do, I might change it. But originally I was going to stitch this in variegated, and I have that to show you. But I realized I didn't like the look of it, and that I didn't have, it just didn't look like books to me. So I did not have the heart to rip it out, especially that first one. I really love one. The other one I like it, but it's not as like wow. And I did not have the heart to rip it out. And I don't know if it could represent anything else. So I think what I might do is maybe pick 2 books out of the, how many are there? 8. So have 4 books. And do like a mini bookshelf. Because I think I can find 2 more variegateds that I like. I just don't, well, I don't want to stitch it twice, and I don't think it will look good. Maybe I'll do the quote on this one to kind of connect the fact that they are, in fact, books. Hold on, things are slipping. Hold on. Okay. So, I'm going to leave this for now as temporarily UFO'd, but I want to do something with it. I just really love my first variegated floss choice, and I did not want to rip it out because I just like felt like it'd be such a waste, and I don't think that floss is any longer available, and I don't have a lot of it left, so I have to find a really special piece to use it for. So I decided I'm going to use some really nice jewel toned DMCs, and I just barely restarted this. I got a little bit of the first book done, and is this? I'm pretty sure it's like this. So yeah, not something I'm gonna be working on for a bit. I just had it going. At first I was gonna UFO it all together, but then I had the idea of the jewel tones, and I really like that. So I decided to restart it like that, and that, you know, that's my idea, and I'm sticking to it. Alright, so next I have my towel piece. It's called Le Bon Gâteau. I don't know. Sorry guys, I don't speak French. This was a gift from my mom. They went to Paris on a trip last year, my parents, and they got me this and another pattern. So this is actually on a towel that looks exactly like this. You'll see it in a minute. And you decorate a bit of the towel with that pattern. And I started it just because, like, I did not have the heart to tell my mom, like, I have a ton of WiPs, I have no time. And, like, it's nice to stitch stuff that is gifted to you. So, yeah, so you can see the towel here. They also said this was really pricey. I mean, I know cross stitch can get pricey, but they said this was really, really pricey. And I think it's because the LNS they went to had an in-house designer, and they charge a ton. Sorry, I have stuff slipping all over the place. So they can charge more because they're the only ones who can sell it. I think that's what the deal is. But I started with the cake in the middle, and let me tell you, there was a lot more jumping around than I thought. The other thing I didn't do is I didn't mark up the pattern because I didn't want to mess it up, but I really need to make a working copy and kind of get myself figured out. I think I can figure out pretty easily, and I keep that in my StitchCon bag from 2019. So yeah, I'm thinking of hopefully pulling that out this year. It's not officially a WiP or anything. That's not on my WiP Go or anything like that. But I think I'd like to at least work on it this year. Hopefully finish it. I don't think it'll take that long. Even though there's a bit of jumping around, I don't think it's going to take that long. So yeah. Yep. Moving on. Did I say that was June 23rd, 2019? I don't know anymore. I've been doing this for like 2 hours. At least that's what it feels like. Alright, my next one, I'm almost done, guys, so. Broderie Apari. This is by Sue Hillis. This was a StitchCon purchase and start. I was actually not going to start this at StitchCon, but then I thought how fun it'd be to have a start at StitchCon, and my idea is to actually finish this at StitchCon 2020. I'll probably pull it out a little bit before I go to StitchCon and work on it a little bit more so that it's closer to being done and I'm not stressing that it wouldn't be done. But this is what it looks like. I really have enjoyed this piece for a long time. The first time I walked into my LNS, I saw it and I'm like, I don't feel like I'm ready for something like that. It looks like a lot. It's really not, but like at the time I was like, oh, I was overwhelmed by the LNS. But I've seen it on and off, like on Facebook, Stitch Mania, that kind of thing. And then finally I got it at StitchCon, which was very special because Sue Hillis is the in-house designer for Keepsake, so that's exciting. And I got to meet her and she signed it for me and she's just the sweetest thing ever. And I did a full-on different color. I decided for blue and purple. This inspiration struck because I bought this floss and this fabric at StitchCon. I was actually not originally going to use this fabric. I had pictured in my mind what I wanted. I saw it on the color and cotton table and I like highly underestimated how crazy people were going to go. So when I went the next day, it was actually the final day and I should have figured it out, but I didn't. There was like 5 pieces of fabric left, and so it was this or nothing, and I'm like, I really want to start, but it ended up working out perfectly. There's my fabric. It's a 16, no, it's an 18 count Aida, and I did the entire border and a good bit. I also got this, I think this needle minder was from Cupcake Stitcher. We had a needle minder exchange at StitchCon. So yeah, this is, I don't even remember the name of the floss, but I think I have one handy. Yes, I do. This is Galactic by Color and Cotton, and just like entirely like my jam. Like these colors, I love them so much. My lighting is not the best to show this at all. So I bought a few skeins of that, and I've been stitching away. Yeah, I think maybe what I'll try to do is maybe stitch what goes here. And maybe like stitch some of this side and leave the bottom inside for StitchCon. I don't know. We'll see. I know there's not a ton of stitching a lot of times that happen in retreats because like it's more about like enjoying the retreat and meeting people and all that stuff. But, and I feel like I have a working copy. Yeah, I got my working copy in there. I do. So, yeah. I love that piece, and it is on my WiP Go board to finish, and my plan is to finish it at StitchCon 2020, and I think that's going to be tons of fun. I don't know if I'll be able to use the tray, because I guess technically to fit in that tray it's supposed to be 32 count, but I could just have a bigger border on it, no biggie. So that's that one. Okay, next I have another Paris piece, ironically. This is called Reflections of Paris. I started it on July 20th, 2017. Why do I feel 2017, 2019? Why I feel like that date is off? I think I messed up the date on that, because I don't think we were at StitchCon on the 30th. We were definitely there earlier in June. I totally messed up that date. I didn't start this because I know I started it at StitchCon. Maybe that's the date I posted on Facebook, or maybe I'm completely wrong and we did start. I don't know. I just know it was a StitchCon start, so it was mid-June. Anyway, Reflections of Paris was on July 20th, 2019. This was for a virtual stitcher Sal, and it is a restart. I had originally started this in a variegated color, and I realized I wanted a different type of effect. So this is what it's supposed to look like. It is by Ink Circles. I am doing it on a dark fabric, and I chose to use a DMC. I don't recall the color. If you're really curious, I have it written down somewhere, I'm sure. But I can certainly let you find out and respond to your comment if you so are inclined to find out. But this is a teal witched linen that I got on a lot off of eBay. Not my favorite to stitch on. It's very stiff and dry, but I love the color. And there it is. I got the middle done, and the top is marked. My top is right here, so I guess I should show it to you like this. This is the top there. Now I'm showing you the back. Wonderful. There we go. There's the top. Okay, that's still see-through. See what I mean? Like, it's a very thin but scratchy linen. So that's how much I've got done. I really like the effect of the light dusty rose on this teal. When I first bought this, there was only like Reflections of Paris, Reflections of London, and Reflections of Canada. Now there's Reflections of New York City, Reflections of New Orleans, Reflections of Egypt, Reflections of a Grecian Urn. There's a lot. So originally I was like, oh, I stitch all of them. I don't think I'm gonna do that anymore. I own New Orleans and London, so I'll stitch those. I think I'm thinking of getting Egypt, and for now my plan is to stop there, but I may get others. And I think I like the idea of picking like something totally different from what's pictured, except for the Egyptian one. It's kind of similar, a blue with a gold, because that's just like what I think of when I think of Egyptian. But yeah, all right, almost done, guys. Luke and Darth Vader, all the way till December 17, 2019. This was in my bag. I ordered this for my hubby. He does know I ordered this. He does not know I started it. When Disney took over Star Wars, they, I guess, licensed some dimensions to make some kits, and this is one of the kits. It's actually mostly half stitches, but there's quite a bit of jumping around. This is called Luke and Darth Vader. I have another one. There were 3 kits that were released. Actually 4. One is a small one, but 3 of this size. But my hubby only liked 2 of them, so I got it. The other one was like just sitting right on there. When I got to my LNS that in December, I bought, or no, it was earlier in the year. I bought it. But then I showed my hubby this one, and this one Karen had to order. But I just started on the Star Wars, so this is part of their TA, and the A on the bottom. Can you even see that? Hold on. Since my project bags are plastic, they're sliding. There we go. Not a lot. I just wanted to start it because it was in my bag waiting for me. and I wanted to get it started, but I have that Yoda piece I want to finish, and so this isn't really a priority, it's just there for funds. It should go pretty fast, but there's surprisingly, like I said, a lot of skipping around with the colors, so it might take just a little longer than anticipated. So no plans to finish that or anything. This next piece, I'm sorry, I stopped that and started that really quickly. I'm so close to being done, I'm like, I feel it, guys. Okay, this next piece, I am beyond words. I'm so lucky. I saw this and have wanted this since I started stitching. When I started stitching, it was already very expensive. It was out of print. It was hard to find. And I had kind of wrapped my mind around the fact that I probably wasn't going to get to stitch this piece unless I was ready to throw down quite a bit of money. It just so happened we were talking about unicorn charts one day on Stitch Mania, and I mentioned this was mine. And unicorn charts, in case you don't know, is basically a hard to find piece of... The door is open. You can totally hear. I'll be right back. Guys, I am so sorry. I forgot, like, the last time I got up, I left that open. I hope that hasn't been too annoying or loud. My hubby's next door, like, playing with some friends, and he's got the whole, like, headphones, and mic and all that. Sorry. I don't even know how long it's been, and I really, 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 really hope that it's not really annoying, because I can't record all of that again. I just don't, I can't. Anyway, I mentioned that this was my unicorn chart. This is Scarlet Wizard by Dimensions Gold. I love him. I love him. I love him. And I have for so long, and I was so frustrated that he was so expensive. And having this conversation, somebody reached out to me and let me know they actually had two of them, that they had bought one and received one as a gift at the time where it was just readily available, and would I be interested in taking one of them? And I said, yeah, absolutely, let me know how much. And she's like, let me dig it out, figure out how much I paid for it, we'll go from there. This wonderful lady said, listen, this is how much I paid for it. This is how much shipping it's going to cost. That's all I want. I was like, I was floored. I am so thankful. Oh, dear Lord. I have no idea what this floss is from. Is it from him? It might be, but I didn't take... I think it's from him. I think it's from him. Okay. I'm going to put it in his thing, and if it's not, I guess I will eventually figure that out. So I basically paid a little bit more than retail for him because of the shipping, but like, I'm just so thankful. I'm so happy I can stitch him. I am keeping him, like, the pattern clean. I made a working copy. What I'm going to do is I am going to share this pattern when I'm not share. Sorry. Don't get me wrong. I am going to pass along this pattern to one of you when I am done. I will be done with it and I will be stitching it again. I will send you the pattern. My working copy will be like all written up and all. It will be done. Not pattern sharing. Please don't. Please, I'm not. I meant to say I'm going to spread the wealth and like give this out to somebody. Obviously I can't send you the fabric or the floss. I guess I could send you the leftover floss, but while there is leftover floss, I don't think there's enough to stitch it again. So I think it's just going to be easier if you just get the, like, from the pattern it'll say the colors and then find the dimensions to DMC conversion and go with that. But it is on 18 count black Ada. And there's Scarlet Wizard started. I am so happy to have the opportunity to stitch him. I'm beyond words and so thankful to the stitcher who is just willing to share. Obviously, like, I'm totally fine paying for it, but, you know, she wasn't like, I need $200 or, you know, like, it was just so nice to have something like that. Just like, you want to stitch this, it's going to bring you joy. I want to share with my stitchy friend here. You know, I'm just so thankful. I'm so happy. He was my last start. I got him, I think, December 29th, and I started him on December 29th. I might have gotten him the 28th, and it might have been late. I definitely sorted the threads, and I was ready to go the next day, or it was the 29th, and I started him. I'd like to finish him this year. That was my original thought, but with everything I want to get done, I'm thinking maybe half to a third, so we'll see. But he is on my WiP Go board, originally slated for a finish, but I may have to reassess and really think that through. All right. On January 2nd of this year, 2020, almost 3 left, guys. I started this. I really should have started it a while ago, which is why I don't feel like, oh, I added a start. Like, this is a gift. You know how I mentioned that Bucilla heirloom from 2016? This was also supposed to be started, but I was just like around the same time. So like, it's like 4 years overdue. This is also a gift, and I wanted them to kind of match in size, so I picked another Bucilla heirloom kit, and when I saw how rough sorting the threads was, I was like, no. Alright, sorry about that pause, but I realized my battery was like flashing like, I'm gonna die soon, camera's gonna shut off, so I was like, oh, let me change that. Okay, so this is Bucilla heirloom mother and child. Should have started this in 2016 along with Quiet Fire. Did not, because I did not want to go through that pain of sorting threads. I did it. It was tough. Again, giant wad of 2-yard lengths. The colors were hard. It was hard to sort these, especially the skin tones. There's some that I'm not even sure it's right. Like, that's how bad it is. But I think I'm as close as I'm going to get, and that's the one where I think I'm going to have to refer to the picture when I get to that section and just make sure it at least looks like it kind of matches. It's like this. Okay. So I started in the middle, and I just wanted to get it started again. Originally, my goal was to finish both this and Quiet Fire to gift to these people by Christmas. I don't think it's going to happen. It might. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I'm shooting for at least half of each, and then maybe in 2021. So I started in the middle, and I just got a little bit of her right here. So yeah. Give me 1 second, guys. Have a question to answer. Okay, so I gotta wrap this up, guys. So you saw that when I started it on the 1st of 2020. I will try and get it done by 2021, maybe this year, but I don't know. My second to last one is technically 2 projects, which is what at the very beginning I was like, wait, I technically have 3 starts, not 4 starts. But this I'm counting as 2 WIPs, but I'm making these stockings for a family members, a couple that got married in 2018, but at the very end, but they kind of knew. I'm like, listen, I don't think stockings are going to happen until 2020, but now I'm thinking 2021. I'm okay with it because they have stockings they enjoy. Like, they're not cross stitch, but they're kind of look almost like they're machine embroidered, and I told them, listen, it's tradition, you're going to get stockings. In fact, your mom already picks them out. So it's gonna happen, but at least I don't feel like that pressure. So I got a big break because part of the family that lives further into the US, originally I was gonna make stockings, and when I asked the aunt that's, you know, relates to that part of the family, she's like, hey, you know, I really don't think they're doing the whole stocking thing. We never really see them. They don't do Christmas. Like, we might see them at like a wedding or something like that. So I'm like, well, in a way, that's a big relief for me because that's 6 like stockings I have to do. 2 married couples and 2 children. So when those came off my plate, I feel like I have my sister-in-law is getting married next year in January, and they have them. So my goal is to have these 2 done. My mother-in-law was originally going to help me, but these are on 18 count, and she's like, I can't do it. And I was like, all right, no worries, I'll do it. I have time. It's fine. I'm going to work on them simultaneously, I think, to make it, because like stitching it all and then stitching it all again, I think would be way too much. So I'm going to like probably do a section and then match it in the next one. So there are 2 projects, even though the other one's not started it, I kind of included it in my WIPs. And their goal is for them to be done in 2021. My mother-in-law will be doing my sister-in-law stocking. I'll be doing the other one, and then hopefully they will both be done by 2021. That one's on 16 count Ada, so I think it'll be better, but I did let my mother-in-law know, hey, if it's too much, I'll take over. So I gotta kind of plan for them. I'm really like my husband and I are really trying to be good about our budget this year. I mean, we do well, but like, you know, like we're never like, oh my God, you know, we don't have enough. We've been very good. He's been very good financially, and I've been trying to be good as well. But like we're trying to kick it up a notch this year. So I'm not going to order it for a little bit, but once I do order it, I want to at least get it going and started so I can be working on it. But my mom's is my priority this year, and then once that's done, I think that's going to like release me to like feel better. So I just started on the top just to get them going. But I did get the other one from my mother-in-law, so I will be working on that. So that was on the 18th of 2020. My last WiP, guys. We made it. We're here. This is part of my long-term style. So Sandra Causalino, in conjunction with Mill Hill, releases 3 Santas a year. This is the 22nd year this year. So I think it'd be 66 Santas this year. And I want to stitch them all. She actually has like 100 something because she originally did some through Busilla and through Janlin, but they're not like being produced. I might find some here and there on eBay, and at first I'm like, okay, I'll just do the 100 something. But I was like, you know what? They're hard to find. These are still coming out, so it's gonna be, you know, a while, and I've only have 4 done. So anyway, this is Feliz Navidad Santa from the Celebration Santa Year series. I don't remember the year. This says 2014, so this must have been the 2014 Santas. And I just started him. I basically just finished Trinidad Santa, and what I do is as soon as I finish one, I start the other one, which is why this is, I consider this a long-term WiP. So even though it was a start January 20th, I don't know if I said that, 2020, it's a long-term WiP, because even though I'll count him as a finish, I got 60 something to go, right? Wait, no, technically I'm at 59 until the new ones get released. Okay, no wait, 66. No, I'll be at 61. Alright, so anyway, my goal is for him to be done this year. I definitely would like to get more than 1 done a year. It's like this. But I'm not there yet, so that's where he's at. Just a little bit of like this middle section done right there. So he's a lot of fun. I keep this in my little Notions bag from my OG Garantone bag gift. I guess I shouldn't call it a Garantone bag because it's not what they look like anymore, but it was made by Ronnie and gifted to me by Carrie when we first started stitching together at the cupboard and realized we had a lot of the same interest, i.e. mermaids. So that is it, guys. That is all my WiPs. 47 of them. 7 long term, so 40 WiPs. My goal is to get into the 30s this year. I have 3 planned starts, so technically that brings me back up to 43. I definitely should finish 5 of my WiP goals. They're not very large, and the others I think I will finish more things. I think what I'm going to do is if I'm getting close to the end of the year and I'm not close to finishing some of the bigger stuff, I'll go into my WiPs and pick some of the smaller stuff and just try and finish it out just so I can get more WiPs finished and my WiP list will go down, and then I can focus on some larger projects next year. So that's the plan. I'm sticking to it. I got a little surprise for you. So you know how I mentioned that I had some UFOs? I decided to pull some of those. Now they are started, but all the pattern's there, the floss is there, it's pre-sorted. I'm gonna give them away. Please don't say giveaway. Just, you know, in the comments include the word I'm going to ask you to include. Please be over 18. You got to be willing to give me your address. I don't care where you live. For these, I'm going to do it anywhere you want. Sometimes I might have to do US only to like shipping costs, but I'm just going to go for anywhere. So this one was one of my UFOs. I started this. It was kit time. All of these are kits, and this is what was available. I just dropped one. So I just bought it. I'm gonna do my cool like grabbing with my legs and reaching up so I don't have to go out of screen. Oh, that did not work. Okay, you know what? I can do this, guys. No, I can't. Sorry, pardon my reach there, but I need to go and do something, so I'm trying to be quick. Bloom and Be Happy by Busilla. I just have a tiny bit of this done. I'll show you exactly where it's at. This is on 14 count Aida, and I got a little bit of the middle rows done. If you would like this, my pattern is marked so you can see exactly where I'm at. You can stitch this if you'd like. So if you're interested, maybe say I'd like to include the word rose in your comment. Rose, R-O-S-E, rose. And I will know that you are interested in stitching Bloom and Be Happy, and I will send this to you. I might not send it in this Ziploc, and I realized I originally had Bluebird in here apparently because there's a label on it that says so. Oh well. My next one is Vision of Hope. This is a Design Works kit, I believe. No, it is not a Joan Elliott. For a minute I thought it was. Every dream is a vision of hope. It's a beautiful dream catcher. I'm just not ready. I have too much. And this is one I'm not gonna worry about. I started on the border. It comes with the floss and these really neat beads. This is on 11 count Aida. So it's nice and like, I don't know, it's nice and big and tribal looking. I started on the border, but that's all I got done. And you may be the proud owner of this. Include the word Dreamcatcher in your comment and you will be entered to win this. My very last one is when I had that butterfly kick. When I did butterfly vignette, I wanted to stitch like all the butterfly patterns. I managed to acquire quite a few, but I destashed a bunch. And this one I started, but I'm just like, it's beautiful. And I was like, I thought about it, but I was like, you know what? I got plenty going on. Let me make somebody else happy. This is Butterfly Forest by the Gold Dimensions Gold Collection. This is on 14 count cream Aida, and it's gonna go really fast because the background is all half stitches. So again, all the floss is included, pre-sorted, pattern is there, just flew out. Oh well, I'll get it in a minute. I started on the first butterfly. It's also pre-gridded, but if you're not into gridding, you can just slide this all out. So I started on the first butterfly. That's all I got. So if you're interested in stitching this, just put I'd like to stitch the butterflies. Or no, sorry, just include the word butterflies. You don't have to put I'd like to stitch. So if you want Bloom and Be Happy, include the word rose. If you want Vision of Hope, include the word Dreamcatcher. And if you want Butterfly Forest, include the word butterfly. Anywhere in the world, over 18, must be willing to give me your address, but please don't include the word giveaway. And for those of you who sometimes ask why, because some people like to search all YouTube land for any video that has a giveaway, get the stuff and try to sell it to whatever community it's for, whether it's books or makeup or whatever. So yeah, I have most of them in like a plastic something or other. I'll just, you know, send it in you in just an envelope. And yeah, so thank you for sticking through with this long video with me. I hope to maybe do an update every couple weeks. If I could fit it in every week, I'll try. At first I thought that sounded like too much, but I think the reason it's harder for me to stick to once a month is because then I have this huge video and I just don't have the time to do that. I also can't do it every day. So I was like, maybe I'll do a vlog style every other day. This is what I worked on, this is what I did. That doesn't work for me either. But I think more videos with less time in between is gonna work because I can just like be done in ideally like 20 or so minutes. So that's the plan. Let's see how it works. I hope you're having a wonderful 2020 and it continues to be as such. Thank you for watching me. I will see you next time. Bye.